Okay, so this video will focus exclusively on repeating decimals. See, I made a mistake there. It's not repeating fractions, it's repeating decimals. Okay, so you were surprised by a emergency homework, special homework that was given on this. This time I got it right. Review sheet for converting repeating decimals to fractions. Okay, it uses a trick that you've never seen before, but you've seen tricks like close to it. For example, look at this. You have an equation, right? Look at this one over here. X minus 2 is 5, and 2 equals 2. Both of these equations are true. It turns out that if you have two equations that are true, you can add or subtract them with each other. So if you take this equation, x minus 2 is 5, and 2 equals 2, and you add these two equations together, the 2's cancel, and the 5 and the 2 make a 7. Notice I made a few mistakes here. So easy to make mistakes. So easy to make mistakes. Anyway, you get x equals 7, which actually is the answer. This is a cute trick where you can actually add or subtract equations that are equal to each other. We use this trick that you can add or subtract equations to convert repeating decimals to fractions. Okay? For example, this is the simple one. How do you convert 0.8 to a fraction? 0.8 repeating to a fraction. You always let x be the repeating decimal, 0.88888888888. And in this case, you multiply x by 10 to get 8.888888888. And you put the bigger number on top, you put the smaller number on the bottom, you subtract them, and you get 9x minus 1x is, no, 10x minus 1x is 9x, and 8 minus equals 8. You divide both sides by 9, that's the answer. Okay, so what is the general method? You always set the x to be the decimal that you were given in the problem. So now you have two equations, equation 2 and equation 1. So always put equation 2 on top. Equation 2 is always x times the highest power of 10 that repeats. We'll go over this in an example. And equation 1 is multiplied by the highest power of 10 that doesn't repeat. Basically, you have to multiply x by something and the x by something else, right? Usually a bigger number. Okay, and then you write the equations down like this. Then you subtract them, and then you solve x. The best thing to do is let's just go through some examples. Okay, that's really the way to learn this, the way to see this, right? So the number. Let's do this example first, okay? Let's do this one first, okay? So we'll make it in blue. Doesn't that look nice? Okay. As I said before, how do you know what to multiply x by for equation 2 and equation 1, okay? Equation 2, the bigger number. You multiply x by a factor of 10 that's related to the highest repeating decimal. So here it's in the hundredths place. See, this is the tenths place, this is the hundredths place, this is the thousandths place, okay? So you ask yourself, what is the highest place that's repeating? It's the hundredths place, So you multiply, equation 2 will be 100 times x. Now, what is the highest non-repeating place? The highest non-repeating place here is just 10, right? This is ones place, this is the tenths place, the hundredths place, the thousandths place. The highest non-repeating place is the tenths place. So in this case, equation 2 is multiplied by 100, and equation 1, you multiply x by 10. You know, x is always this, right? So it turns out that if you do this, and you multiply with, but 10, multiplying by 10 means you move it over one decimal. So you get this. Multiplying by 100 means you multiply by you move the decimal point 2. So you get 7, right? You get 7, you get over here, 7.7777777. You put them on top of each other, you subtract, and you get 90 is equal to 7. So 790x is 7, so x is 7/90. Problem is done. So basically, you know how to do it when you have just the whole thing is repeating, like 0.6 or 0.04 repeating or 0.004 repeating. In this case, the lowest, the x is only multiplied by 1 because the highest non-repeating is a 1, right? Basically all the numbers repeat, right? When all the numbers repeat, the first equation is just x equals, right? And then the second equation, the one on the top, is just multiplied by the factor of 10, where the numbers for the highest multiple of 10 here. So this is in the thousandths place, right? Thousands, tens, hundreds, thousands. So when you have 3 of these repeating, it's the thousandths place, so it's 1000x. Here you have a bottom one. Here you have 2 repeating. It's a hundredths place, so it's 100. And when everything repeats, the equation 1 is always just an x. Okay, so that's how you do those. Now, the problem you had that Thursday night, the infamous Thursday night, were these problems, right? Where you had only the a 2-digit, you had hundredths place, but only the hundredths place repeated. Here you had 3 of them with only the thousandth place repeating, and here you have 3 of them with the 2, the hundredths and the thousandth place repeating, right? So you have to ask yourself, what number do you multiply to get equation 2, and what number do you multiply to get equation 1? So you look at this thing very, very quickly. The highest repeating is in the hundredths place, so that's why that's 100. The highest non-repeating is in the tenths place, that's why that's a 10. Problem solved. Here, the highest repeating is in the thousandths place. Equation 2 is 1,000. The highest non-repeating is in the hundredths place. That's the 7. That's why I do 100. Here, okay, the highest repeating is up to 2. That's in the thousandths place. So you do 1,000. Here, the highest non-repeating, oh my god, it's only just in the tenths place. So that's why there's a 10. Okay? So then you line everything up, you do this math, you multiply by 100, or you multiply by 1,000, and multiply by 1,000. Remember, when you multiply 1,000, you move this thing 3 decimals. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So it's 72.7222, right? Da 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 like that. Okay. So my suggestion is write down the x. Step 1, write down the x equals. Figure out what equation 2 is. What number do you have to multiply x by? To the biggest number you have to multiply x to, and it tells you basically, you basically choose that based on the highest repeating place. Okay, then you want to find equation 1. It's the highest non-repeating place. Here it's a 10, here it's 100, here it's a 10. You do this math, you line them up really carefully, right? And then you subtract the 2 equations. You either get a 90 or a 900 or a 990, and then you solve for x. Solving for x is easy. And then you are supposed to put more salt in the wound because you basically should be done. This is a tough problem. You may actually have to simplify. Yeah, that would be a shame if you do all this right and you don't simplify. So if you get this, it's 68 over 900. You divide both sides by 2. You get 34 over 450. Now you can divide by 2 again. No, you can divide by 2. You get 34 over 450. Divide by 2 again, you get 17 over 225. You can always use a calculator to check, but you won't be able to use a calculator on the test. So that's how you do this in general, okay? This is the general method. These are the examples. I am absolutely sure, although you can never be totally sure, but I am very sure that any question you have on the test would only be one of these 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? These possible 6 questions. I just can't imagine her asking anything other than one of these 6. So this is basically how you do this. Okay, I hope this method is easy enough to understand and remember. It works, and yeah, if you get one of these questions, this is how you do it. Okay, good luck.